YouTuber tier list. If I don't know who they are, they're not getting placed on the list. Like this guy, I don't know who this is. Now, this list has a lot of OG YouTubers, some newer ones as well, and yeah, let's just go through it. Now, Hot Ones, I already placed it in S tier. One of the best interview shows on YouTube. It's able to get really high level guests, which similar to Joe Rogan. It's impossible not to like at least one episode of Joe Rogan. Same thing with Hot Ones. There's going to be somebody on there eventually who you want to hear from. Now, Hot Ones on occasion can have a really, if the guest isn't like really, if they have a high tolerance for hot sauce, it kind of becomes a non-factor, and that's okay. But sometimes it'll be a non-factor, and then it will perfectly line up with them, with the interview itself not being all that interesting. It's rare that that happens. Most of the time, it is a winning recipe. It belongs in S tier. Now, iDubbbz, I've never gotten into iDubbbz. I don't think I've watched even one of his videos. I'm sure for his time he was funny. I know he definitely had a lot of viewership, but I mostly know him in the context of he made a video against Leafy, and I found that to be really lame. I don't like that sort of censorship. I feel like Leafy definitely deserved to be on the platform. And then iDubbbz has done like weird things against Sam Hyde, and Sam Hyde is pretty good stuff. So yeah, C tier. He would be F tier if he didn't have at one point have the respect of a lot of people. I'm just not familiar with the guy at all, besides a few like negative things. Now this fella here, I have no clue who he is. He looks familiar, but I don't know the channel. Now here we have, I think it's ProZ HD. He was going to one of the universities in Michigan, and I first stumbled upon him where he was doing all these different flavors of Oreos, and he was trying all these different Lunchables, and I forget if he put them into a tier list or just talked about them, but pretty entertaining stuff. And he's done some other content here or there that I've also kind of stumbled upon. You know how YouTube just kind of throws you a recommended video that from a channel you don't watch very frequently, and on occasion I'm gonna put him in a high B tier, maybe a low A, but for now B tier. This is Grace, what was it? Grace Hellberg? Grace Hell something? Grace, I should pull up YouTube and search some of these people as I go. Grace, oh, why is the name not coming to me? Wow, I keep typing in Grace wrong. Saying Grace H, maybe that. I swear it was Grace H. Yeah, Grace Hellbig. Oh God, she has video. I have breast cancer. I'm sorry to hear that. I know her through her collaborations with other content creators, which she seemed funny and fun. I am gonna put her also high B tier. I think she might have even been in the like one of the YouTuber rewinds when the YouTube rewinds were actually good. Yeah, it just seems like a very solid early YouTube kind of thing, where she kind of like popped onto the scene, and I have no idea what she's been up to for a while. So yeah, I believe this is Jake Paul. He does boxing. I assume Logan Paul is going to be on this list somewhere. Now, I don't like Jake Paul. I like Logan Paul. Logan Paul does wrestling, does funny little stunts. I assume Jake Paul's okay, but I just don't know what he does besides the occasional like funny thing. What can I say? I don't follow boxing. I do somewhat follow wrestling. Now this woman, oh God, what is her name? I remember her being like kind of funny. I just can't place it as to who she, like, she looks very familiar. I'm sure she's perfectly entertaining. So she deserves a high C tier above these guys. Matt Pat. Matt Pat's pretty solid. I feel like he has a ton of potential as a YouTuber, but he like retired, and I feel like he's kind of probably a lot more dynamic than the content that he creates. Like, his content is obviously game theory, film theory, all that stuff. I feel like maybe, and I'm sure he has, like, I think he streamed and had another channel. I just never followed any of his additional content, but I'm sure he was pretty solid. I guess maybe high B tier above pro. Pewdiepie, I could not stand Pewdiepie at first. I found him to just be a Toby Turner clone. He's just doing the Tobuscus thing, just shouting, making gaming content that's geared towards kids. And I found that to be really lame at first. But then he eventually kind of evolved his content and became a lot more tolerable. Obviously one of the best to ever do it, one of the most popular. But I feel like he just didn't come into his own. I'm going to put him low A tier. Obviously there's something to him. He's got that X factor. He has done a great job. And I like him now. That's the thing is, I avoided him like the plague after watching a couple videos when he was like relatively new. And I'm just like, this is just Tobuscus again. Which people have followed that formula since then. Like a lot of the Minecraft YouTubers, like Jelly. These people where they just shout because they're going to get children audience because they're just shouting and children find that funny. Yeah. I'll jump right to Skeptic-Eye. Is it Septic-Eye? I feel like it's Septic-Eye. Yeah, just do I place him in low A or high B? I gotta place him in very high B. I just am not familiar enough with them to place him in A. I've definitely enjoyed some of his content. I think he does like gaming. I'm pretty sure he's done some Minecraft content. Definitely a very charismatic, outspoken guy. Very solid. I'm sure if I actually watched a bunch of his content, he would easily be A tier, maybe even high A tier. But I just haven't done that. Shane Dawson, a true OG, probably the first true OG so far. Been around YouTube forever. Has just been there for so many phases of YouTube. And has persisted. Has maintained some relevancy throughout that, which is impressive. So, I feel like he's very solid and consistent as far as my perspective as never really getting into his content, but solid nonetheless. I think low A tier. Now, James Rolfe. Oh God, this one's gonna be rough to talk about. Angry Video Game Nerd, Cinemassacre. The originally like James Nintendo Nerd was his channel name, and he actually was making content kind of like YouTube style video game reviews before YouTube even existed. He was one of the first people to be making money off of his YouTube videos because he was making them through like an outside sponsorship, and he was making money for the videos he was creating before YouTube paid him. So really one of the OGs, somebody who was making videos, truly revolutionary videos before YouTube was even around, which is crazy. Guy's made a film. He's made a series of short films. Just one of the most inspiring YouTubers in the world. A true, absolute OG in the truest sense. Kind of an absolute pioneer, like beyond a true OG. This guy is just a absolute juggernaut of online content creation. He changed the game, absolutely. As much as he stumbled along the way and got very lost and confused at certain times, for just propelling everything forward, I think he's got to go S, higher than Hot Ones. There is entire chunks of content he's put out that I don't like at all. His attempt at a podcast, which almost feel like he got pressured into doing, is a terrible podcast. Like, it's not good whatsoever. But that's like one thing that he tried to do. And considering when he first came onto the scene, almost before any other YouTuber in existence, what that content was so ridiculously good and holds up to this day, you gotta put him high S. Will somebody beat him? It will be very hard. I believe this is Jaden Animation. Probably top of B tier. Okay content. Never really watched much of it, but it's good. What I've seen is good. I mostly have just seen her video where she talks about winning the Mr. Beast YouTuber competition that she won, which was a really cool video. I liked it a lot. BuzzFeed. I know BuzzFeed does... I'm trying to think of their various series. It's kind of a hard one to place because some of their series has been good. Some of their series has been bad. It's very hard. They've had like all these separate channels. They've kind of done so much that it's... I would say they definitely escape F tier. Their channel has almost 20 million subscribers. I'm just gonna hit popular. Disney princesses were real. $1 street food around the world. Yeah, a lot of just kind of, in my opinion, very generic type of content. And I suppose they have like branched it out and they've done like some original ideas and stuff, but very rarely has it been any good. Like, is anyone going back and watching any of these BuzzFeed videos? I'm looking at their most popular videos and none of them look like anything I want to click on. And that's kind of a huge problem. Like, it looks like a combination of, I don't know, almost like React content, generic YouTube videos, scripted videos, none of which kind of look all that great. So maybe low C. New Smosh. I don't know who New Smosh is at all. Who are these people? I can't place you. I don't know what New Smosh is. And this guy with the hat, is this the guy that gets stung by various insects and animals and just... I think that's this guy. which although his videos are very cool and interesting, they're just not really dynamic enough to... I gotta put them just above iDubbbz. They're cool. I like them. It's content I really enjoy. But there's so little to it. I feel like the guy, although he's puts his body on the line and puts a lot of effort into his content, that it kind of lacks the personal touch. Now again, maybe he has a side channel, maybe he does put himself out there, but I've only really seen his like main content that blows up and goes very viral. But I just feel like I don't know the guy, which is a problem if you're a YouTuber, and this is a YouTuber tier list. Now, who these guys are, I have no clue. Is that like Epic Rap Battles of History? It might be. If who even does Epic Rap Battles of History? It's like, am I thinking of Nice Peter? Is that the guy? Yeah, an Epic Lloyd. So I just don't know if that's actually those guys, though. I think it is. What is that? A ninja and a wrestler, like a pro wrestler? I'll put ninja in and see if it if anything. We'll just say this is those guys. Now those guys have done stuff besides Epic Rap Battle of History, and this guy on the left just doesn't look like those guys, though. Am I just totally wrong here? No, that has to be Nice Peter on the right. It has to be. The eyes look just like his eyes. All right. Epic Rap Battles. I find you're creative, but pretty uninteresting. But all you guys have done other quality content, made decent parody songs. If I'm thinking of the correct thing? Yeah, street music, Nice Peter. With the Superman socks, with Kasim G. Flying high in my Superman socks. Pretty solid. I will put you above Matt Pat. These are those British guys. I'll also put them above Matt Pat. I forget their names. Actually, I'll put them below Matt Pat and Pro. Jeez. This guy I can't remember. This guy I've never seen his content. I've seen him like collaborate with people, I feel like, but I just can't think of the dude's name at all, or nothing about him stands out to me in any way. Sorry if that's harsh, but it's the truth. Now this dude, he makes some pretty solid videos. I can't think of his name, but I like his videos. They're very solid. I feel like I have to place him probably right around here as well. Maybe I'll move. Yeah, I'll place him right there. Solid dude. I wish I could remember his name. Is he... Oh God, why is it not coming to me at all? He's that guy, man. He's that guy. We'll just move on because I can't think of that guy's name. I like him though. I want to watch more of his videos. The Fine Bros. I really like a fair bit of their content. Especially, I feel like I liked it a lot more when it was more divided up into like kids react, teens react, adults react, elders react. Some of those are really awesome, and it was nice to follow some of these people and like see them grow up and get their perspective. I felt like that, though, is also kind of fundamentally flawed of a premise to keep having the same people, because they kind of learn that they need to tone down a little bit, kind of hold back their opinions and views a little bit, which does kind of detract from the content. I feel like, and also the problem with that is some of these people move on, go and do other things, create their own YouTube channels, so they kind of like aren't like locked in. So that creates some problems. And the Fine Bros, they just have too much quality content. I think I have to put them in A tier. How To Basic, I don't know, the name sounds familiar, I can't think of it. Game Grumps, pretty solid. You'll go right here in B tier. Boogie2988, oh my god. Hard to place. The Boogster. He's made some entertaining videos. Obviously nobody likes him on a personal level. He comes up with all these ways to scam his audience, which is kind of funny. And he's definitely finds ways to bring himself back into relevancy. I feel like a lot of his content, though, is not that great. So I've got to place him below iDubbbz. It's just the truth. Super Mega, don't know what that is. Keemstar. I haven't watched Keemstar in forever. I know he does like this lol cow live with Wings of Redemption and Boogie. And he's kind of in all these different like corners of YouTube. Pretty solid. I like him in a lot of ways, but he's like the one of the longest standing content farmers. I think I gotta place him below the Fine Bros, because he's like the Fine Bros, but with an actual personality and putting himself out there and talking to people and farming drama in a very direct way. And you gotta kind of respect that. Now, moving right along, we got JonTron. I love JonTron's video on Kid Nation, and he makes some other really good content. He doesn't upload very much, but his content is typically pretty solid. Now that kind of creates this tricky dynamic. I feel like I can't place him super high, because to me, what makes a good YouTuber is giving a piece of themselves, and he just doesn't really do that. He just doesn't make enough content. It's I feel like if he started to upload more, it would kind of be a sink or swim scenario. And I don't know, it doesn't make any sense for him to ever do that, because he's doing great, barely uploading. But definitely pretty solid. I'll put him right below Epic Rap Battles. Filthy Frank. I've heard he's like iDubbbz but better, but I've just never watched him. Just that kind of what similarly put me off from watching Pewdiepie is the same thing with these guys. I just felt like it was just kind of dorky and lame, and I just wanted nothing to do with them. I just never. YouTube would recommend them to me. I would never click on them. Nothing about what they were doing appealed to me in any way. Yeah, I don't know. This guy? He was on Amazing Race. I think he was like. Is it Tyler Oakley? Is that his name? Now again, I'll quickly just do a YouTube search and see what this guy has been up to, because I have not heard anything about this guy in years. Yeah, he's still around. Looks like he uploaded 2 months ago, then 3 months ago, a year ago, 2 years ago, 3 years ago. So it looks like he hasn't been. And then he only uploaded about 6 videos 3 years ago. Then jumps to 4 years ago. So I assume he basically retired about 4 years ago. Just kind of gave up on it. I'll put him by Grace. I think he even like knows Grace. I just like, who knows? Never really got into his content, but it's not so. I've watched a couple of his videos and they were totally fine. Kind of your standard like YouTuber guy. I don't know. Lily Singh, again, never got really into her content. Saw a couple of videos. She was way better as a YouTuber than as whatever she is now, like hosting these various shows on TV. Like hosting the shows she hosts, she either painfully mediocre or downright unbearable. But as a YouTuber, she was solid. Like when she was collaborating with YouTubers, she was like a part of the scene, doing stuff. She was pretty solid. She probably should have stuck with that. I'm sure she's made millions and millions of dollars being on TV and made herself into a bigger, like, gotten herself more fame, but she should just be a YouTuber or something. Like, she was actually good at it, way better than what you would ever imagine. If you had only seen her from her being a TV host of various shows, you'd be like, oh my god, she must have been the worst YouTuber of all time. But no, she was actually good. I will put her just below the Game Grumps, because she would probably place higher if she had continued, possibly. She didn't really do like anything besides be a solid YouTuber, but she was good at it for sure. Black Nerd Gaming, is that it? Or I think that's what this channel is. I've seen a couple of his videos, solid. I just can't. Low B tier. Nothing really stands out. I think this is Ryan Higa. Never really watched him. I can't even place him. I just don't even know. Ethan Klein. Now, Ethan Klein, tragically, his original channel, H3, I think it's just H3, was entertaining. Or is it just called H3? Because there's a channel now, it just says H3 Podcast. I don't like him as a podcaster at all. I think huge mistake. Now, sure, he's made tons of money and he has one of the most successful podcasts out there. But this guy's opinions are terrible. Some of the most ridiculous, absurd stuff I've ever heard. The fact that he literally told his audience that they don't need to think is insane. He should. I don't know how. I don't know how he has a successful podcast. He's not intelligent. He's not interesting. He's very rarely funny, and that's tragic because him and his wife were funny in their original content before they did podcasts, when they were like doing this goofy stuff with like Teddy Fresh and Vape Nation. They just made these comedy scripted videos and were kind of playing like characters, and some of that stuff was funny. I don't know why they stopped. It's really strange to me. Like they do it. The problem is that they do an okay job as podcasters. They do an okay job. They really do. But why? Like, what good is that? There's thousands and thousands of other people doing an okay job and having a podcast. Yeah, H3 has more production value. They can put more money into it. They have high quality equipment and they can like edit stuff and do a variety of things that maybe a less popular podcast can't do. But if anything, that just steers me away from H3 podcast even more. I root for the underdog, and there are tons of podcasts out there that are far better. And this is I almost wish it was separated into two. I feel like his podcast content just drags him down so much. I can't in good conscience put him in B tier, but top of C. I just don't have it in me to do it. It just his podcast would be bottom of F tier, no question. And I feel like his comedy videos, there wasn't enough of them that were funny enough to really place him like A tier, but he would at least be like high B, probably around the Game Grumps, maybe a little between the Game Grumps and Lily Singh. Harley from Epic Mealtime. I feel like he kind of was a key component in making Epic Mealtime more entertaining than it otherwise would have been, as he was often like the voice of the group, kind of like the main character, if you will. Now, the fact that he hasn't really had any of that sort of success anywhere else, he hasn't been able to come out with the series and have it be good. As far as I know, maybe he could have a great YouTube series that I just don't know about. But it's kind of tragic that never really translated into anything else. I feel like he's solid, but not... I'm putting him below Ethan, actually. It just hasn't really... It hasn't been the winning recipe since the Epic Mealtime videos. I don't see how Epic Mealtime hasn't maintained their relevancy, at least somewhat, with the emergence of mukbang content. It's wild that him and these other guys haven't made any kind of return, that Epic Mealtime hasn't made any kind of return at all. Like, there's entire channels that have sprouted up of people doing food challenges, doing mukbangs, cooking, and it just hasn't really... They just fell into obscurity, and that, I don't know, maybe it'd be a little different. I feel like, because I know that Epic Mealtime, the channel, including Harley, was doing videos of like just normal cooking sort of videos, and they were okay, but it totally lacked any kind of like X factor, which is sad. So that's very sadly and reluctantly I put Harley in C tier. I feel like if something had gone a little different, it could easily be A or B tier. Dashi. So Dashi makes Super Mario Maker content. It's pretty solid. I haven't watched him since the first Super Mario Maker was like popping off. And he was one of the most entertaining. He was screaming and shouting, but also like telling funny jokes. I guess I'll put him... I don't know what else he's done. Like, has he done stuff outside of Mario? If he hasn't, then he'd be clearly low C, but I'll put him in low B to be safe. IJustine. She's a real OG. Probably the most old school YouTuber on here, other than like James Rolfe and possibly H3. And I don't even know, like maybe like Shane Dawson. She is very solid though. Has completely, I think one time she had a tiny controversy. Very, like she's very good at being a YouTuber fundamentally, but has never, like if I look her up right now on YouTube, I'm confident she's still making videos, still doing her thing. Yep, she uploaded 3 hours ago, uploaded a day ago. She has 7 million subscribers. But if I go to videos and go to popular, looks like she did a parody of Black Eyed Peas song, decorating a cake. Like, she does the things a YouTuber should be doing, but I guess I just don't know if any of it's any good. Like, I can't think of, IJustine, and then instantly connect that to a video. Whereas a lot of these other people I absolutely can. Like Hot Ones, I think of Jenna Ortega being on there. I think of, what was it? The guy who plays Homelander. I can't think of the actor's name, but the guy who plays Homelander and the guy who plays, I think it was The Deep. They were both doing the Hot Ones like at the same time. And just countless other celebrities, right? And that's kind of a problem. When I think of James Rolfe, I could tell you all kinds of videos that I like. One that I go back to is even Akari Warriors, where there's the penis gun. It's just so many classic videos, and I think I got to put her low, bottom of A tier. Just very, which is kind of hard to even describe. Hard to describe. Maybe that's harsh, but really this is ridiculously high praise. But yeah, very solid, no issues. Oh God, Jack Black. Again, huge issue here. Even infinitely larger issue, the same issue, but it's times a million, right? Times a million. This guy's making YouTube videos. Now, it looks like he hasn't uploaded in a year, and then before that was 2 years. So I guess it was really maybe a couple years he was doing YouTube videos. But this guy's in a lot of movies, right? And he's in a band that, their tour got canceled and stuff like that. This guy is actively doing a lot of stuff. I feel like he has giant potential as a YouTuber, but also never really, again, you don't think of a Jack Black video, of a Jack Black YouTube video. Could he be one of the best? Could he be S tier? He absolutely could. Would it make any sense for him to be? No. Like, how would that help him in any way? That would be more work than what it would ever pay off. He may as well just keep doing what he's doing. So it's almost impossible to actually place him. But because he does music and goofiness, and he does have enormous potential, he has S tier potential, and no one can deny that. I think he has to go absolute top of B tier, despite him not having a specific video that comes to mind at all, which is kind of, I can think of certain YouTubers and think of their very first video they ever put out and it being a banger. So that the fact that he doesn't have that, across years of uploading, although it's not like he was ever putting effort into it. So it's very hard to quantify. Top of B tier, I think, is very fair. Jack's Films. Never watched his content up until he was criticizing Sniper Wolf. And I don't know. I'll put him below Oakley. Seems like maybe I should check him out sometime. I don't know. Jenna Marbles. Jenna Marbles was a beast for a time. She was kind of like the top dog for a little bit. Not in terms of viewership or subscribers, but she was gaining like she was never at the tippy top, but she was at the top and rose to the top quickly and was genuinely funny, entertaining. I have mad respect for that, for just being a talented, entertaining person. Now, I'm not going to lie, I wasn't the target audience. A lot of her humor is very woman-centric, right? Like, I could see why women would absolutely love her. And I feel like she probably has a lot of women friends. But yeah, definitely just so super solid. I think I got to put her right below Pewds. It's funny that they're both wearing red flannel, but yeah, she could be S tier. If she wanted, she could be S tier, and so could Jack Black. And with PewDiePie, even PewDiePie could, but he has decreased his uploading, and I feel like, again, like PewDiePie has videos that come to mind, no doubt about it, but I don't really think of like, oh, PewDiePie, this video, phenomenal, right? I can think of videos that he's done some really cool stuff, like YouTube Rewind, but it's actually good. That was really cool. But the stuff like the Ladder Goat, Bitch Lasagna, it's funny, but it's not like it. It pales in comparison to the very best James Rolfe videos. Now, who else? Markiplier. I need to start going through these faster. We're deep into this. Is that Andy Milonakis? I don't know if it is. I don't think it is. Is this like a short-haired Andy Milonakis? I think it has to be, right? Let's put Andy Milonakis as I kind of see him like, he's like low effort Keemstar in a way. Just from sheer lack of effort, which sounds harsh. Let's say that is Andy Milonakis. I really don't know if it is, but I think bottom of C tier. I think he could easily be A tier if he wanted to. He would be like my go-to if I was to have a successful channel and this was like my job and I wanted to collaborate with somebody. That might not be him at all. Definitely somebody I very much like, but he's kind of more of a streamer and a really great like streamer, somebody to collaborate with on a stream. Just, you know, cool dude. Markiplier. I feel like Markiplier did a really good job of following that like PewDiePie Tobuscus recipe, but doing it but not doing it at the same time. Doing it but actually putting yourself out there and having some level of maturity to it. Trying to appeal to not just 6-year-olds. I like Markiplier quite a bit. I'm feeling high B, low A. I think I got to put him low A. Very solid. Very, very solid dude. Oh my god. We got Miranda Sings. Oh boy. Oh boy, boy. Now, she followed a very winning recipe of making content that's for kids, but also having it be like edgy and weird. So it's going to be certain things she does are going to be funny to both kids and like teenagers, young adults. And the problem with her is she falls into these dramas and it kind of derails her content. And that's a huge problem. And I am so of two minds with her, because her other channel, like before the ukulele stuff and all that, I think she could easily be S tier. But I feel like to be S tier, you have to be able to have it in you to not nuke your own career. And she kind of doesn't have that aspect to her. But outside of that, she's very funny. And her vlog channel was incredible. First of all, holy smokes. Very hot. Like, I remember being like, good goddamn. Whatever video I watched, she's at the beach and it knocked my socks off. But no, she's genuinely very funny, and watching her vlog, I was like, she's so funny when she's not doing the Miranda character. And even the Miranda character is like kind of funny and works really well. But outside of that, I was like, holy crap, when she's not confined to entertaining children and being this Miranda character, she's actually just really funny. She's like this really funny theater kid. Incredibly charming, incredibly talented. The potential to be S tier is clearly there. Majorly there. I feel like it's just a few bad habits, a few small things keep her from S tier. Because I'm telling you, she is genuinely hilarious and entertaining. Her vlog content was awesome. I never watched all that much of it, but what I watched, I'm like, oh my god, this woman is hilarious. She is gorgeous. She needs to leave her husband and marry me immediately. But yeah. The Mystery Guitar Man. I don't even know what happened to this guy. Mystery Guitar Man. I'll look it up then. I'll see what he's doing. I'll see if he's uploading. Oh, 14 years ago. That's what pops up. It's not a good sign. Oh, yeah. His most recent uploads on his channel. 3 years. Then 5 years. Then 7 years. This guy's been out of... And even 7 years, he uploaded... 7 years ago, he uploaded 7 videos. So, and then 8 years ago, it was like 5 or 6 videos. Yeah, this guy's been barely uploading for a long time. And he hasn't been of any relevance in a very long time. No offense to him. Solid, funny, cool, chill guy. Solid content. He just stopped. I don't know what he's doing. He even has like decent views. Like his second most recent upload has almost 1 million views. He's probably just doing something else, and that's fine. Good for him. I feel like him along with plenty of other content creators, was just one very solid video away from being having that big thing, that big old thing that really pushed him to the top or whatever, pushed him into the being like a notable YouTuber in YouTube history. And I feel like he just never really had that. I feel like he could have, but it just didn't exactly happen that way. But really solid freaking guy. I will put him I'll put him above the Game Grumps. Now some of these beauty ones, like James Charles, the content is just so not for me. I can't even place it. I can't even begin to know what makes that kind of content good or not good. We'll skip quite a few of these. Like, I don't know who this guy is, or this guy. There's Old Smosh. Old Smosh is quite solid. I mean, they were the top channel for a good while. I think bottom of A tier is appropriate. They're just so old. So old. Who's this one? Where's Danger Dolan? Come on. I don't know what this umbrella is. Some of these people, almost this entire bottom row, I'm just not familiar enough with. Like Casey Neistat. I watched one of his vlogs. It was solid. I guess I can place him. Solid vlogger. Totally fell off the map. I don't know what he's doing anymore, but he has not done anything of note in forever. I'll put him below Oakley. Just being a solid vlogger is fine, but you're not really being a YouTuber in a way. Like, there's kind of a little more to it than just being a good vlogger. Marcus, again, kind of stuck to his niche a little too hard. But I feel like he branched out more than Casey Neistat ever did. And just the longevity that he's had definitely earns him a decently high spot. I think just below MatPat. I feel like he doesn't really have... now, granted, maybe he has, and I just don't know. But I feel like he's got his content, and he's solid. I feel like he's like IJustine. He's so much like IJustine, but IJustine has just done it for longer and been popular for longer. And as far as I know, it's just more popular and has done more like collaboration stuff, or at least collaboration stuff that's gotten more attention than what he's done. This is Internet Donkey, I believe. I'll put him here with Andy Milonakis. Solid. I think he mostly does like reaction content, I do believe, and like kind of nothing really stands out. Like I might be thinking of it, combining what I'm imagining about him with another content creator. I'm not exactly sure, so that's why it's a little hard to place. I recognize this guy, and I feel like I've enjoyed videos he's made, but I can't even think of what they were. Joey Graceffa, pretty solid. I feel like he is a cut above Grace and Oakley, and he's definitely had longer relevance than them, as far as I know. I like. Is it Joey Graceffa? I'm pretty sure it is. Oh, why can't I think of this guy's name? I've watched him several times, and I like his videos. I'll put him... He's definitely above these guys. Now, you can definitely tell that I like gaming content. I like him more than Game Grumps. I'll put him right there. He kind of... I mean, it's hard to really step too far out of your niche anymore. Because your niche wants to see your niche. That's what they're there for. And they're more vocal about that than I feel like they used to be. I feel like early YouTube was a lot more experimental. So you had like Grace Helbig being hilarious on other people's channels. And it was just kind of more of a normal, expected thing. Kind of like the way that streamers collaborate a ton. It was kind of like how YouTube used to be. And now it's less like that. These bald men, I don't know who they are. Rice Gum. All right. I would think he has to be banned. Now, Rice Gum was like Leafy is here, but I feel like Rice Gum would just keep making... I feel like Rice Gum was a little more mean-spirited and very similar to Leafy, but a little... not as funny, not as entertaining, and a little more mean-spirited. Yeah. I think I will put him right below Harley. And I feel bad for this blonde woman still, because I feel like she's funny and charming and nice. Maybe... I think Boogie deserves F tier. And maybe BuzzFeed as well also does. Yeah, I'm going to put BuzzFeed in F tier, but above Boogie. I feel like both of these channels are directionless wastes of time that, yeah, just very bland content. Now, there's some gold in there. It's kind of like, this is going to be a controversial opinion, but it's kind of like the Beatles, where there's some phenomenal stuff and then a whole bunch of very bland crap. And with Boogie and BuzzFeed, there's some outright stinkers. There's a lot of stinkers. There's a majority are stinkers. But let's keep trucking along here. We got Philip DeFranco, a news YouTuber who's old as can be. SXE Phil, Philly D, been around forever. I kind of wonder if he's still going. I assume he is. Philly D, Philip DeFranco. He's got to be still around, right? Oh yeah. He's uploading less frequently, but he is definitely uploading. He just uploaded yesterday about Ethan Klein and Hassan and their disagreements. Yeah, he's just done a great job. I feel like you got to put him in S. Like, he's still getting good views. Doing this exact same type of content. Now, I feel like in a certain way he's irrelevant, right? I'm looking at his most recent uploads and compare that. I feel like people have followed his formula in a lot of ways and done it a bit better. For example, I look up Asmongold's most recent videos and they kind of have the same viewership, but you have some that pop off. Now, granted, his apology video has 3 million, so that's kind of an outlier. But I feel like Asmon is way more relevant. Like, people are going to react to what Asmon does. Asmon's just like become a bigger name. He's just... now he does it in a different way. He live streams and does kind of he does it in a different style. Maybe it's hard because Asmon does gaming content, even Moist Critical does gaming content. So I feel like those guys are the big names in that style of content. But the fact that right below them is Philly D is impressive. And that's yeah, I guess Moist is in terms of like YouTube views is you know, a bit above Asmon. But being able to be like the third guy at this point, when you are like 20 years almost into doing it, to being in the game, to being to be a top like 3 guy who does that style of content this balls deep into the game, like almost 2 decades later, that's crazy, right? I feel like Philly D has always done a pretty good job and definitely deserves S tier. I would love to see Philly D kind of collaborate a little more. I know in the past he's done little collaborations, some like podcast appearances. I would like to it would be cool to see him on podcasts that specifically react to like news and stuff that like do kind of a similar content to his in a different style. That would be kind of cool to me. But he also, I feel like Philly D, Philly Steak, I feel like that's also kind of like not his way of doing things, but so maybe it wouldn't work out super great, but whatever. Ray William Johnson, at one point, the top channel, the top dog, the top diggity dog. He basically was the show ridiculousness, but with just him. He had this series called Equals 3, where it was 3 viral videos, usually funny videos, and he reacted to 3 of them at a time. Really did a phenomenal job. They tried to do the show without him. There was some kind of contract dispute. I forget if it was exactly when he did he joined Maker Studios, but then he didn't like his contract or something. Something happened with his contract to where they would be getting a bunch of the money from him, like way too much of his channel. That would be reasonable considering they're providing almost no value to him. Like, he was already a top YouTuber. It was this real messy thing, and then they tried doing the show without him, and it was just a miserable failure. And then I think he eventually like got the series back, but it just never was the popular thing that it used to be. I don't know what he's been up to at all. Looks like he's still uploading on his channel, Ray William Johnson, 17.8 million subscribers. At a time, he was the top subscribed channel on YouTube. Looks like there's maybe like true crime type of stuff. Interesting. Ooh, a video about Hulk Hogan. Who knows? So it's hard because at a time he was the top dog and killing it. He was like blew Bob Saget out of the water. And that what was that guy after Bob Saget? That like something like Bergeron, like Tom Bergeron. Ray, you're going. Man. I think I have to put you right below Miranda, which is like, you know, elite, absolutely elite. Who else do we have? Some of these people I'm familiar with, but not familiar enough to like care to place them. This Minecraft dude, don't know who that is at all. I'm familiar with some Minecraft YouTubers, just not him. I'm trying to figure out who this blonde woman is. She looks familiar, but I have no clue. Baldies, no idea. James Charles, I can't understand your content because it has nothing to do with what I could ever care about. I wear t-shirts and basketball shorts as like 95% of what I wear. So like you doing like content, makeup content that for a female audience, obviously, there's just no entertainment value in it for me. So it's unconsumable content for me personally. Good Mythical Morning, Rhett and Link, they've been around forever. They're still like relevant, you know. People still watch them. People still talk about them. They've done a phenomenal job. Because their content's a little bit more complex than Philly D, I feel like I got to place them higher. Do I place them higher than Hot Ones? Yes. Definitely yes. I don't place them higher than James Rolfe, the Angry Video Game Nerd. Just has done a little bit more. Now they've done their ability to maintain relevancy and also transform their content. Like I feel like Pewdiepie didn't drastically transform his content very much. He more so transformed as a person and a content creator, more so than his content going through some sort of large transformation. So yeah, who else we got? Mr. Beast, Tobuscus, and Logan Paul. Logan Paul has a very, very interesting podcast. It's miles better than the H3 podcast, but that's like an impossibly low bar. Now, he's doing so much outside of YouTube, and he's done some really cool stuff on YouTube. He's done some controversial stuff. He's done some dumb stuff, but he's also done some good stuff. And now he's a wrestler, and he's came out with some like Lunchables with Mr. Beast, some like alternative to Lunchables. He has an energy drink that he came out with KSI. Like, he's done boxing as well. He's done a lot like outside of YouTube, which you will get. I would say will give you points as a YouTuber doing stuff outside of YouTube, but not very much, right? Like, I'm not throwing Jack Black in S tier just because he could be in S tier. So I think Logan Paul definitely falls in A tier. And probably just above between Ray and Shane, to be fair. I feel like placing the Fine Bros any higher is kind of unfair because they're more so like leading a channel. They're more like production behind the scenes. Now, Tobuscus, Toby Turner himself. I feel like I'm definitely going to give him credit for originality. I feel like people are definitely inspired by him. Pewdiepie, a top dog. Markiplier, a very popular YouTuber. And I feel like so many other people in smaller ways are just kind of took note of what the success that Toby Turner had. I think Toby Turner might have even been like in the top spot. He might have actually been in the top spot at one time as far as like YouTube subscribers. Like, he was definitely close. He was a beast early on in the gaming content. Not as early as James Rolfe. And you can't in any realistic sense say that he's anywhere near the level of James Rolfe. But he got incredible views. He entertained a lot of children by screaming and being crazy. And he was like original when doing it. It popped off and it was at least original, right? Whereas like PewDiePie, it kind of wasn't. That being said, that doesn't like necessarily translate all that well to kind of doing anything else. Like PewDiePie has done some other stuff. Toby Turner kind of hasn't really, or if he has, it has just been like of no, absolutely not noteworthy, never been mentioned, never. It just didn't. He's extremely irrelevant. He is of no relevance and has been of no relevance other than since Jacqueline Glenn broke up with him quite a while ago. And that's, I don't know. He uploaded 9 days ago, 10 days ago, 2 weeks ago. He's uploading. But his most popular videos were a decade or longer ago. Like all of them. Literally all of them. So you kind of lose points if you're actively trying and you've fallen off a cliff. Like when you go from videos that have tens of millions of views and your recent uploads have, of your last 8 recent uploads, there's some that have, like there was one 2 weeks ago that has not even 10K views. Now granted, there's one 3 months ago that has almost 100K views, but then there's a whole bunch around there that have like 30K, 20K. So that's an enormous drop off, right? And I'm sure, I don't know if the content's great or what it is, but that's a crazy drop off that, you know, you just aren't seeing in any of these top ones. So you got to question, was his content ever really that good, or was he just Markiplier before there was a Markiplier, PewDiePie before there was a PewDiePie? That's kind of what he was. And yeah, I don't see the potential in him that I see in others. And although he was a top dog and it was original when he did it, I think maybe here. But mad respect for popping off in popularity and doing it before other people. So like, that's pretty cool. And we come across the top dog, the current beast himself, Mr. Beast. We'll start him off in S tier. Let's think about this. Mr. Beast is been around a good long time at this point. Definitely newer. Definitely was like, if you told me 8 years ago the name Mr. Beast, I don't think I'd have any idea who you're talking about. Let's look at his oldest upload. His oldest upload was 12 years ago. I think a lot of people, it looks like he did Minecraft, Pokemon battles. Looks like Call of Duty maybe. So just like a generic gaming channel. Yeah, a lot of Minecraft, a lot of COD. I wonder when he really popped off. Ooh, he did a video on how much does White Boy 7th Street make. Now, White Boy 7th Street, I love White Boy 7th Street. I feel like Mr. Beast is probably like really cool, but he's just fallen into this incredibly successful niche of the content he does now. And the content he does now is also like incredible. Don't get me wrong. I just feel like he's probably a lot more dynamic and interesting as a human being, as a person, than what his channel is all about. Because it ain't about gaming anymore. Yeah, it looks like he kind of got into. Looks like he was kind of going around for a while and then popped off at some point with sort of potentially scripted, it looks like, in these videos. Comedy, reacting to funny stuff. It looks like he kind of started being funny and just got like real big views. And then I assume eventually, a video I gave 20,000 to random homeless people, this like philanthropy stuff, and popped off around 6 years ago. So yeah, like I said, if you had told me 8 years ago who Mr. Beast, I'd have no clue who you're talking about. So really, it's been the last 6 years this guy started to pop off and become a huge name, and he's just become a bigger and bigger name. He's really kind of changed the landscape of things. I think he could be doing so much more. I think his personality, right? Which, you can go back and you can watch his old videos and see that personality, and that would probably be really interesting to do. But it'd be kind of nice if he could sort of incorporate that with into what he's doing now. Now that's very tricky, right? Because what he's doing now is so ridiculously successful, and it kind of doesn't make any sense. That would be a tough sell. Like, hey, maybe lean more into what you used to do, which wasn't popular, and now what you do is omega popular. But I don't know. It'd be nice to kind of like get some more, see some of that. Just a little sprinkle. Just one video a month or every like 15 uploads. Do something that's a little more personal, and that would be great. And honestly, I think James Rolfe. Well, first of all, I'm putting Mr. Beast in the second spot. To me, James Rolfe invented being a YouTuber accidentally. And I feel like James Rolfe hates being a YouTuber. I feel like he, I feel like he's wanted to retire for a long time, and it's been lost in the sauce for years. But what he did changed the game forever. And I feel like Mr. Beast has been changing the game for years. It just isn't as big of an impact. And I want to see more of both of these guys in the top two, right? I feel like I know a whole hell of a lot about Rhett and Link. Like, they put themselves out there. They produce a lot of content. You get a lot of them. Whereas James Rolfe and Jimmy Mr. Beast, you just don't. And it would be kind of nice to. So that's my tier list. Pretty much just Boogie and BuzzFeed and F. You know why. You know why. No one needs an explanation as to why Boogie would be an F tier. Like, what video besides the ridiculous ones where he's like being insane for drama's sake to get views, clickbait, people reacting to him, other than him fishing for views? What's a Boogie video that anyone cares about, that anyone is entertained by, right? Probably the Francis going, "You drank my Mountain Dew." Like, all right, yeah, you made a couple little funny videos. Great job. Those were awesome. But you've just been floundering ever since. So yeah, A tier, just a whole bunch of heavy hitters. Some of the heaviest hitters there's ever been. Plenty of people who were literally the most subscribed channel at a time. A lot of top 10s. Again, I think Keemstar has more potential than what he's shown, but he kind of just makes so much content that it would be hard to like land on that potential. Guys like Jack Black and JonTron could certainly be higher up if they uploaded more. Even MatPat, if MatPat isn't in like semi-retirement, he could be way higher. And if he expanded kind of the scope of his content, yeah, for sure. And yeah, we got Philly D, we got Hot Ones. Honestly, if Joe Rogan was on here, he would be an S tier as well. Joe Rogan, even if you hate him, you got to admit, he's a good interviewer. He gets people. Look at him with Alex Jones. Look at the crazy. Now, Alex Jones, you're going to get a great interview out of him pretty much no matter what. But there's plenty of people that Rogan has gotten great interviews out of, and Hot Ones has gotten great interviews out of. It's a great recipe. It's all about being able to get these huge guests that people want to see, right? Like, people want to see the people who are on Hot Ones. People want to see the people who are on Joe Rogan. And it's unfortunate that that's not exactly just duplicatable. It's not easy to break into that because there has to be like a growth. You have to get bigger and bigger guests, and it's very hard. I'm sure it costs money to get these people to show up. Now, Rhett and Link, just great. Probably the most solid content creators in this top S tier. They've just been doing such a phenomenal job for so ridiculously long. Way more consistent than these others. I mean, Philly D is incredibly consistent, but Rhett and Link maintain a level of quality and a level of like giving the appropriate amount of themselves, while also their content has like expanded and they've done new things and they've grown. They do a great job of it. Mr. Beast and James Rolfe have just changed the game. They have that X factor. They have that element that puts them to the absolute top. And yeah, maybe they don't always stick to it. They certainly could improve in a lot of ways in their content, especially James. But, you know, they've also made some of the absolute greatest videos that YouTube has ever seen. And if you aren't familiar with them, check out their channels and watch those videos.